Recently, I was rewatching a retrospective video of a character I was obsessed with as a kid. In that video, they used a short clip from a YouTube channel called I Can't Sleep. I thought the art style was pretty cool, so I decided to check out the channel, and I was not ready for what I would find on there. I'm going to give a massive trigger warning here. These videos contain some pretty dark subject matter, and I know that not everyone can handle that kind of stuff. If any of these things make you uncomfortable, or if you don't feel like you'll be able to handle it, please click off this video. This is just meant to be an appreciation video for something that I think is really cool, but I know that it's not for everyone. I will be censoring some of it here, but you've been warned, this is going to get pretty dark. I Can't Sleep is a relatively new channel, only being created in 2021, but it didn't become popular until around a year ago. The videos on this channel are all animated in this really cool, nostalgic art style, reminiscent of Johnny the Homicidal Maniac or Invader Zim, with a bit of Tim Burton in there as well. In addition to this, every video is very low quality, only going up to 480p on a few videos. It has the feeling of when you'd find a spooky video in the 2000s or 2010s late at night, kind of like Salad Fingers if y'all remember that. It all comes together to create this super unique feeling that you don't get very often. My favorite way this has been described was in a comment on the channel's second video. This smells like middle school and bad memories. The videos are all relatively short and feature very little sound, adding to the overall scary nature of them. The fans have actually come up with a name for the girl featured in these videos, Nia, coming from the word insomnia. I think it's cute. There's already a few videos on YouTube attempting to explain the story being told in these videos, if there even is one, so I'll try to keep that pretty brief here. I'm just going to give my thoughts on it as a whole. There's playlists on the channel that help with watching through the videos and make it easier to understand what kind of story is being told. Something I don't see mentioned is that you can actually tell what stage of Nia's life the videos take place in by her design. The videos that happen when she's a child have her with her hair completely down and usually covering one of her eyes, and she also wears a white dress. When she's a teenager, she wears a striped shirt and her hair is a bit more stylish. And when she's an adult, she wears this really cool black dress / trench coat thing. I think it's awesome. It's gonna help me explain what's going on here. The story within these videos isn't clear, so I won't even try to give an in-universe explanation of anything. Instead, I'm going to be talking about symbolism because it's honestly the artist's best skill. I'll start by saying that I strongly believe that this artist is a woman. Not just because the character is a woman, but also because these videos depict things that only women and trans men would have experienced, and since Nia is drawn clearly as a female, it's pretty safe to assume that the artist is also a woman. In the video Surprise, it shows a shadow figure give a gift to Nia, which sprays red mist in her face, and then causes her to bleed profusely, and eventually her organs fall out of her. Of course, I have to censor it, but if you really want to see it, you can find the entire channel in the description. If you have even a passing knowledge of biology, you'd know this is clearly meant to symbolize a period, and I don't think a guy would have been able to so accurately depict how painful that feels, especially since most guys don't really understand how that works at all. Also, judging by the clothes Nia is wearing in the video, we know that this happens when she was a teenager and thus can infer that this is the first time she's had a period, which would explain why the video is called Surprise. She wasn't expecting this to happen. These videos are most likely vent art or trauma art based on the past experiences of the artist. The shadow figure that often appears in these videos could represent any number of things, or it could mean something different every time it appears. Sometimes he appears to be a past abuser of some sort, and other times he might represent a fear that the artist has. In pretty much every video, something awful happens to Nia, whether that be harm of some sort or straight up death. One video in particular is extremely gruesome, Punishment, and it's probably my least favorite video on the channel, but it's also the one with the most views, and I'm going to go off on a small tangent here. Sorting these videos by popular kind of infuriates me. All the most popular videos are the ones that happen to be suggestive in some way. That's probably just because YouTube's being dumb, but the fact that Punishment is probably the only video a lot of people have seen from this channel makes me mad. I will not be showing any of this video here. Again, if you really want to see it, you can go find it on yourself for the channel. I'll just show this one image from it so that y'all can understand, at least have a bit of visual. In the video, Nia is chained up and gets impaled by a spike. You know Vlad the Impaler? Yeah, that. Comes out of her mouth and everything. I don't hate this video. The stuff that happens in it doesn't bother me, but it's definitely the most brutal video on the channel, and it's the one most people have seen. It's definitely responsible for people getting the wrong idea about the channel and then never watching another video, passing it off as just some edgy garbage. I promise you that there is substance here past this video, and even it has some symbolism to it. Now, I'm sure why y'all are wondering why I said this was comforting in the title. This all seems like something that you'd only watch if you wanted to be creeped out. In order to talk about why I find it comforting, we're going to have to get into the darker themes that play in these videos. If you made it past me talking about punishment, you should be fine, but if you're not, this is your last warning. Go watch another video. Again, if these topics make you uncomfortable, please click off. Alright. It's very obvious that the artist has unfortunately been a victim of sexual assault, possibly in her childhood. This is a horrible thing to go through, and it makes me sad to see someone else who has been through it. But that's what makes it comforting to me. For everyone who didn't know, I have also been a victim at a very young age, and it has affected my entire life. I don't remember the details of the incident, but possibly because my brain blocked them out due to my age, but the trauma is still there. The feeling that something is wrong and broken is still there. I always knew that there was something wrong with me. There were huge gaps in my memory of my early life, and thinking about it always gave me this horrible feeling in my stomach. All I remember from that time, it was having a reoccurring nightmare of someone standing over my bed and taking me from it before carrying me off somewhere. After that, it's nothing. In middle school, I finally put together what had actually happened, and a few years later, I had confirmed it. I graduated high school a few years ago, and I've had nothing but time to think about what happened, and it hurts, you know? I have friends I can talk to about this, but there's only so much they can do, right? When I found I Can't Sleep, I was just expecting to see some cool goth/emo style videos, but what I found was someone who's been through the same things as me. I don't know anything about the artist behind the channel or if she's even actually gone through any of the things she draws, but the way she depicts certain events really makes me feel like she has. In the video You Can't Escape, we see a young Nia sitting alone on a beach. After a while, the sky flashes black with eyes staring down at her. And when it returns to normal, we can see footsteps approaching her from behind, although we can't see the person leaving them. Once they reach Nia, there's a moment where they just stand there, before the screen flashes again and we see Nia dead on the ground, having been ripped in half. This almost perfectly captures how something as awful as SA feels, especially as a child, and it's the feeling I often get whenever I think about what happened to me for too long. At first, I was sad that someone else had been through this, but pretty quickly that feeling changed. It made me realize that I'm not alone in my experience, and there are other people out there just like me. The majority of these videos end with Nia dying, but despite that, she's always back in the next one. In one of the most recent videos, Mutter, we get to see an adult Nia get mad and actually fight back against all the awful monsters trying to kill her. In the video, she's trying to protect a doll that has the body of a very young and frail child. I believe this represents Nia's inner child in some sort of way, which could explain why she's so, adamant on protecting it. Next to the doll is a taller woman who is meant to be Nia's mother. She pretty explicitly calls her that in the video. Nia slaps the fuck out of her. It's shot from pretty far away and there's no sound effect for it, but seeing her finally stand up for herself is cathartic. Despite the awful shit she goes through in these videos, she's still so resilient, and that's comforting to me. She refuses to let her trauma get the best of her. Even when it feels like it's killing her, she comes back. She's terrified, but she doesn't want to give up. There are clearly times when she feels like giving up. Several videos have obvious themes of suicide, but she's still here. And I'm still here. We're broken individuals, no doubt, but we haven't been consumed by it. We're still alive. Even if sometimes we don't want to be, even if it feels like it's just too much. Watching these videos comforts me because despite every bad thing that happens to Nia, she continues to come back. She dies at the end of one video only to be alive at the next one, and then it repeats. A lot of people see this as her being trapped in some sort of purgatory or hellish situation where she dies over and over again in a never-ending cycle of suffering, but I just can't bring myself to see it that way. That's just life. It's painful, especially for those with trauma like me and Nia, but we haven't let it stop us. In the videos where we see adult Nia, she always looks so sick of everyone's shit whenever the scary stuff happens. She's like, seriously? And I love it. If Nia is able to keep going through all this awful shit and still have the will to keep going, I can as well. If you've ever been through something awful, or if you feel like you want to give up, just know that I know what you're going through, and there are so many other people who do as well. There are many things that you can do if you feel this way. Call a hotline, talk to a therapist if you can afford it. If not, then go talk to your friends. Or you can be like me and I can't sleep, and turn those feelings and experiences into something new. I think I've subconsciously channeled some of my trauma into my music, and whenever I do, it ends up being some of the best songs I've ever written. I Can't Sleep channels her trauma into some really cool animations. It's comforting to know that I'm not alone, and that I don't have to carry on by myself. Wow, this was certainly a change in pace from my usual content, wasn't it? I'm expecting this video to be a bit more popular than my other stuff, so if you've never seen me before, hi, I'm Kira. I like to make music. Usually it's heavy metal and rock. Sometimes I do something different, like this. This is the first time I've done something like this, so I'm sorry if it felt a little scatterbrained. I don't post very often, so if you like me for some reason and want to see more, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out whenever I do post. Anyway, I won't take up any more of your time. Check out my music, check out I Can't Sleep and give them a follow, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye bye!